Hi, this is Robert Polenic, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. In today's video, I wanted to explain a client question about the pre-exhaust method. Pre-exhaust is when you perform an isolation exercise before a compound exercise. An isolation exercise is an exercise that uses just one targeted muscle. You'll see in this video that I'm doing cable chest flies. So cable chest flies, when they're done correctly, you're really isolating just the chest. You're trying not to let your shoulders or your triceps help. A compound movement would be an exercise that uses multiple muscles, multiple joints, and you'll see in this video I'm doing dumbbell chest presses, and that's going to be the chest plus the triceps, a little bit of front shoulder, but there are many muscles involved in that movement, so it's a compound movement. Whereas in the chest flies, I'm trying to isolate one muscle, which will be the chest, so that's an isolation exercise. In the pre-exhaust method, you're going to take the isolation exercise to complete failure before you would do the compound exercise. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. One way would be to do the isolation exercise entirely on its own and then go into the compound movement. Or you can do what I did today, is I did the isolation exercise followed directly by the compound movement like a warm-up set, and then I went back and forth. So I started with 30 pounds on each movement, then went to 40, then 50, then 60, then 70, then 80, and then I dropped the flies and I finished with 2 heavy sets of chest presses. The idea of doing that, whether you do it interlaced like I did or you do the isolation all by itself, is I am pre-fatiguing, I'm pre-exhausting the chest muscle. So that way when I go to the dumbbell chest press, my chest is going to be taken to absolute complete failure, and it will be the muscle that gets the most work from that compound movement. So another example would be as if I did a bunch of leg extensions for my quadriceps and then I tried to squat. The idea would be is that my quads are going to give out before my glutes would, before my lower back would, before any other muscle gets in the way. A third example would be as if I did a bunch of grip training, so farmer's carries, a bunch of grip training, and then I tried to do deadlifts without any straps. I would fail on the deadlifts because my grip was giving out, not because of my posterior chain muscles. So that would actually be, the deadlifts would actually be a grip exercise because the grip died first. The squats in that example would be a quad exercise because the quads would die first. And in my workout today, the chest presses was a chest exercise because my chest died first. So the idea of pre-exhaust is whatever I want to be the main target in the compound movement, I would pre-exhaust to make sure that that happened. One of the reasons why you would want to do this is I have anatomy that makes it easy for my triceps to take over in my chest presses, and so does the client. We have short upper arm bones, so when we do our chest presses, it's very easy for the triceps to take the bulk of the work. Now, you can focus on doing your chest presses nice and wide, almost turning them into like a mixture of a fly, and that'll ensure that you definitely get more chest, but you can also do the pre-exhaust method, and then that makes it even more fail-proof. And I like doing that with my client because he's an online client, and although we exchange videos every single week and I can see what he's doing and I can give him feedback, if I give a technique such as pre-exhaust before the presses, even if his overall technique of the exercise isn't great, we're still going to get the benefit that we want. So it's a great kind of insurance for me as somebody who's writing his programming to make sure that we get the chest to fail first in his chest presses. A second reason why I would use pre-exhaust for clients is it helps to lessen the weight load that you need in that workout in order to maximize the muscle stress. So if I wasn't doing all these chest flies before my chest presses, I would definitely be able to do either heavier weight or more reps on my top working sets of the chest presses. But by doing the isolation movements first, it lessens the weight load I can use on the compound movement. I'm still going to get the muscle damage that I want from muscle growth, but I'm going to get a lesser weight load, lesser stress load into my connective tissues. And that's a great way to blend in good recovery, good longevity into your programming. If you're always doing your heaviest movements totally fresh, that can be good for strength development, but you can very quickly run into some joint pain. And if you're off on sleep, off on nutrition, off on hydration, if your schedule's a little chaotic, if anything about real life gets in the way of your nutrition and training, it can negatively impact your recovery capacity. So using a technique like pre-exhaust gives you a little bit of extra insurance to make sure that your recovery will happen and the person will stay safe, even if sleep isn't perfect, even if food isn't perfect. So those are two main reasons why I like to use the pre-exhaust method. And I incorporate that into a lot of my clients' programming because we're still going to get strong. We're going to get great muscle damage and muscle adaptation. We're still going to get all the results we want. Do we do pre-exhaust method on every single workout? No. Often I'll do it either every other workout or I'll do phases. Maybe we'll do 4 weeks of pre-exhaust, 4 weeks of priming, and then no pre-effort, and they just go crazy and go heavy. It really depends on the client, and their recovery capacity would determine how often I would use that. If you want to use this technique to play with it and see how it feels, I would try alternating every other workout, and that's a fun way to get used to it. But then also the in-between workouts, you get to go crazy and heavy and still do your heavy fun stuff. So I thought that would be helpful to explain the concepts behind pre-exhaust and hopefully encourage you to give that a try. If you want to learn more training information, we have our free daily podcast. It has over 2,000 episodes. We cover nutrition, training, mindset, and listener Q&A. You can find the podcast on all popular podcast platforms, but also on our website. And on the bottom of our homepage is a contact form, and you can send me any question if you'd like to request a podcast. I do it totally for free for anybody that asks for it. So definitely check that out and make a request if there's a topic you'd like to learn more about. Okay, give this a try, and thank you for watching.